Welcome, everybody, once again. This is an episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex.
I'm Jeff Doss. How's everybody doing? All right. I'm excited to see you and talk to you, Alex. And again, I'm acting like I'm on my live show in the morning talking to people. I'm just talking to you. It's just you and I talking, so forgive me. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I like your live show. Tell me a little bit more about your live show that you do.
So I do it every morning. It's called Morning Questions, and it's just something to inspire people in the morning and get them thinking about different things. Because I think a lot of times, it's the questions that we ask ourselves. We just got to keep asking ourselves the right questions, because the answers are in there, in our brain, in our heart. We know it. We just a lot of times don't ask the right questions. So I just, some that I do Monday through Friday, and get some feedback from people and reach out. And, it's funny how when I stop doing it for a little bit, that I see people, I'm thinking, not many people are watching or whatever. Then I'll see people at like the grocery store or something. They'll be like, hey, I know you. I'm like, yeah, I have the Christ School. No, I watch you on Facebook. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So you're like, all right, yeah, let's keep this going. This is a good thing. So it's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. And how was your day, bro?
My day was good. So I want to talk about that way. So you have a following of people regardless of martial arts or not.
Yes, that's the thing that is cool about it. And then what's funny is I was down in Jekyll Island, and random parents were like, hey, I watched all your stuff, and I have my daughter watching your stuff and everything else. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. She's like, yeah, you're a good motivational speaker. I'm like, no, not really. I think I suck, but but I'm trying. I'm learning, and it's fun, man. So it's pretty cool just to kind of hear people ask you about that, and that are following you or whatever. And I think it's real easy on all this stuff to get caught up on how many views you have and how many this and that. If you don't have 1,000 views and you're not doing nothing, or if you don't have 1 million followers, you're not doing nothing. But
right.
all it takes, man, is reaching one person. You know what I mean? So
it's interesting you say that. There's this pastor that I used to really kind of just pay attention to a little bit. He was nowhere in my area. He was in California, and guy's name is Francis Chan. He's really famous for this book he wrote called Crazy Love. Anyway, long story short about this is he doesn't subscribe a lot to what mega churches do. And some people have tainted views of mega churches and not.
Right.
Cons. But he was talking about this one guy, and he wouldn't even say his name because he understood the influence that he had, because he knew the moment he would name drop him, people would just flood him, because that's just the kind of, it sounds weird to say, he's like a celebrity pastor. It's weird, and mainly just because of his books. But he would talk about this guy from Oakland. I don't know his name. And he would say, this guy would just bring it as if he was speaking to a crowd of, 80,000 people, but there might be 28 people in his church.
Right.
Wow. And the main part of that was that he talked about just the integrity of what it is that you're doing. You do what you're doing. We work how we're working, regardless of the outcome. It's the reason. If you make the right choice,
right,
you can't be upset with the outcome. And that's what he would say is, it's what it says. And the Bible says, work hard as unto the Lord. But
correct. Yeah.
Interesting what you said, and so people kind of really reminded you of that, and you weren't even thinking about it.
Right. Yeah. It's really cool, man, and just and even just how my everything else since I started doing that, and just being just open and just being the real me, and I've become better at speaking. I've become better at having more opportunities like this, and of course, your school kind of ends up doing a lot better too, and that wasn't really what I thought would happen. So it's kind of crazy.
Cool. Well, hey, let's jump into
yes, sir.
Pick up right where we left off last week, and we kind of left the cliffhanger from last week, and we were going to talk about coaches.
Yeah.
And then We just didn't.
Right.
So, all right. So, and there's opinions on coaches in sport karate, how they should coach, how they shouldn't, what they should say, what they shouldn't, how
Correct.
important they are or not. What are some of your opinions on that?
So I've been on both sides where I had again, like we said last week, I was always the forms guy on the fighting team, right? So
Right.
I had some coaches who really took to me and really wanted me to grow as a fighter. And I had some that just were like they never coached me at all. And just like, oh, you do forms and you can go have fun fighting. I mean, seriously.
What?
What was that? Yeah, I fought, and well, I mean, pretty much every year, every tournament as a junior. The only time I didn't fight point as a junior was when I switched over and just did continuous. And then when I went to adult, I fought for the first 5 years of my adults, and then stopped, and then went back. I mean, I even fought last month at a tournament. I mean, I still fight and everything, so always have. So for me, it was always there was ones that really, no matter, it's cool that no matter how good the person is or how, whatever, a real coach is someone who really focuses on you, no matter what your talent level is and what they can bring to you. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's cool about it, because and those are real instructors, you know what I mean? Real teachers, because we all know that not every teacher, I mean, not every student is going to be, the next you or next me or next whoever, or have that level. But doesn't mean I'm going to teach them, at 50% and teach everyone else at 80 or 100. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes you can feel that from a coach that kind of just feels, okay, this is cool, whatever. And I think it affects people. The coaches that always connected to me were a combo of both motivators and then ones that saw what you didn't see. You know what I mean?
Who was your favorite coach?
I mean, that's easy for me. But so actually, I have two. So most people would realize it would be, Mike Conroy. So Mike Conroy was definitely my favorite coach, and that kind of grew on me. Again, we'll go back and tell a little bit. Well, I'm sure every episode I'll divulge a little history about Team Elite and Team CJB. But in '98, we brought on Wilburn King, which is a great coach. A lot of people don't know who that is. He was Dottie White's coach, right? He also was Laura Arm's coach. Both of them won diamond rings, right? So he trained both of them. Great coach. And we brought him on as the coach as Jeff Smith kind of moved on. And he was the coach for a while. We also, at the same time, TDS stopped, right? So we worked a deal out to where Conroy did the beginning of '99. Conroy was coaching the adults and the adult men, and Wilburn King coached the juniors and the women. So that was kind of the way it worked. And honestly, for me, Wilburn was one of my favorite coaches I ever had. Pumped me up, really believes in me as a fighter, really, was there for me in a lot of ways, and I really connected with him. Thought he was a great coach. Just had Thomas Wright really liked him as a coach as well. And then really, yeah, go ahead.
Thomas Wright was one of your coaches?
Well, no, one of our players. But no, for me, Thomas Wright, he kind of would be one of my coaches, because there's some tournaments we would go to where their team wouldn't, and Thomas would coach me. So yeah,
he was player.
Yeah, player coach.
Okay.
So
all right.
There was a lot of coaches like that, and sometimes I think they can be the best. I'm sure we'll get there soon too, right? Wilburn was awesome. I think one people don't talk about. Real sad how it happened. You
want to just give a Cliff Notes version on that real quick?
Yeah. It was just he got killed by a parent at the Christ School while he was there. Apparently a mother, I think it was a mother that just had some issues, mental issues, and upset about something to do with the student not being, where he needed to be or something like that. And he got shot at the karate school. So that, and I mean, I don't, I think it was maybe 2003 or 2004. It might have been, actually, it might have
I
been
think it was
later.
earlier.
It was around somewhere that time, but yeah, so it's, no, you're right. It is earlier because, yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
it
you're
was
right.
2002.
Yeah, you're right. 2002.
Right.
Right.
Like towards the end of 2002.
Yeah. So great coach. Once Conroy and I, so like the next year in 2000, I started traveling more with Conroy, and Conroy was the same way. He just really like wanted me to improve and get better. He didn't just like, oh, you do forms this or that. Like he was really focused on me, and my whole view of him changed. Just, I mean, I just, to me, like he's a great recruiter, which I think some people forget that's part of it. Probably one of his best attributes is a great recruiter. And he's a good motivator because he will get on you if you're not doing what you need to do. And that's just his style. He's a great coach in a lot of different ways. So people know now he's really focused on boxing, right?
Yeah.
So he can do a lot of different styles. What was cool when we did NBL was he was a great, continuous fighting coach for a lot of us. So, and that was an option we got to do when we were doing that. So, just a great guy. Crap, there was
I'm
more.
gonna like this. Here's one thing that's so cool about Conroy is I think I had some great stories. You have better stories than me. But when I would hang around with Conroy, he's just such a fun guy to hang around. Number one, you tell any story you tell, he's got a better one in the exact same way.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I'll never forget. I thought I had this great one. Somebody asked me something, and I'm like, I got this. Just buckle up. This dude told a story that was like 1,000 times better. Just you can't make this up kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's just the topper. And I'm like, I'm just done. You just narrate the rest of the evening.
Correct.
Oh.
Yeah. And Conroy's been around forever, and he's been around in every like era. You know what I mean? And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, it's crazy. One of my favorite things is when we really started traveling together more in 2000. I mean, and I mean, we were just going to, and like I told you last time, 2001, we went to so many tournaments. It was like I saw Conroy and Jason pretty much every other weekend, maybe sometimes every weekend. And, I've stayed at his house and everything like that, trained and stuff. And, all right, I'll skip to the other one. So when I went to his house, he was just like, you know what? Yeah, you're my forms guy, and I'm gonna coach you in forms right now. I'm like, all right. So he watched my form for like 2 days and was like trying to contribute to this and that. He's like, this is so much fun. See, I never get to do this. And so it was cool. Like he was into my forms and everything and stuff. So that was fun to see him contribute and give me some cool tips. So it was funny.
Yeah.
So I like that. He's one that really is a great, not just a coach, but I think a team leader in a way to get the team pumped up, because that was something like for us, it was us against the world, you know what I mean? And when we were CJB, and I'm sure other people felt the same way with Full Circle and everything else. It was just that kind of way. So, but Mike Conroy does not like flying. So it's really funny. So I'm sitting on the plane and he's just like, I'm trying to talk to him. He's like, no, be quiet. I have to pray first. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, all right, man. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'll pray with you too. And he's like, all right, but you have to put your hands like this. And I was like, what? Yeah, direct flight. It's like, that way I know, he's listening to me. It goes straight up, it points straight up to him. I'm like, all right. And I thought he was joking, but no, he was serious. He was really serious. And I'm just sitting there. He's a funny character. So after we did this funny story, guess who called me like the day after that video got up about our last one? Conroy. Yeah. So he was like, I saw your stuff on Facebook after I got to call you, man. What's up? So we talked for a while, and then something happened, and then he had to hang up, and then I hadn't heard back from him. But we'll get connected again. That's usually how it works.
Well, here's what's great about him is you could not talk to him for 2 years. You could talk to him tomorrow, and it's like you just talked to him the day before.
Correct.
Okay. So he's your favorite.
Yes.
He's your favorite. Okay. And
well, I mean, as far as the ones that have coached me, right?
Right.
So
right.
yeah. So him, Wilburn, and then I also say, I mean, Richard has always coached me a bunch. Like I said, he was the first coach of Team Elite. Really liked that when he coached.
That's a very good question.
Yeah. Oh, I know. And then just several other times when I wasn't on a team or I was going to certain tournaments, he would step up behind me, you know. The other person who I love coaching me is Willie. So Willie Hicks. Always great. A really good coach, a good motivator. And he also, like, knows me, you know what I mean? Like, he knows that, like, I've always fought and I can surprise people. And he's like, everyone else may not know that, but, like, I know that. So you got, you know, like, he's not going to let me be like, oh, yeah, good job, Jeff. You did good.
Yeah.
Now go do your forms grant. You know what I mean? Like, no, he's like, listen, you should have won that. What are you thinking about? You know, like, he'll get on me and I like that. I appreciate that because when you're known for one thing, you don't really get the other. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the same thing happens with fighters who want to be really good at forms as well. And maybe people are like, well, that was really good. You did a good job. Now go fight, you know, or
That's
same thing.
And people do that.
Yeah.
So,
Correct.
okay. So you definitely see the benefits. So all of that, it sounds like you had great positive experiences. But
yes. I'll explain some negative ones later, but
I
go.
did
You
not
go
always
first.
have greatest experiences. And I'm talking about for the vast majority of my competitive career, I was no team, solo, just riding with my guys. Okay.
Right.
So for the early majority of my competitions, it was just me, no one else, just me. All right. A couple years later, Greg Betlock started hanging around. BJ was with us, and then it was the three of us, and there would be a few other guys who would kind of be along with us.
Right.
And BJ was the decision maker, but you didn't really know what he was going to say. He wasn't your first choice for a coach. Greg and I, great, because we knew each other. We knew what the other person would do, et cetera, et cetera. I'm never going to forget. I'll never forget this. This happened. This was 2004 at the U.S. Open. Fighting in the middleweight grand. I'm fighting Jason Burley. Okay. Now, I'd never beaten Jason Burley to that point. But I feel like, okay, I got a pretty good strategy. There's not a better kicker I've ever seen or experienced in my life than Jason Burley. Okay. We could go on and on, but we're not going to. He's okay. So, but I'm in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm not as good a kicker as him, but I'm stronger and I'm longer and I'm taller. And there's different things that I can do. And I'm not stronger and longer and taller by very much than him, but I have a couple of inches. So I remember match starts out, whop, kicks me in the face. Okay. Very next clash, I kick him back. All right. He kicks me back. All right. And we're going. Now, at one point, I'm pushing him into the corner, and I'm sitting down. I'm like, oh, he's going to let me do this. And sometimes he'll just give up.
Yeah.
He's going to give this up. And I set my leg down, but Jason didn't know I was going to set my leg down, and he swings his back leg through to hook kick under my leg. But my leg went down, and he didn't mean to do this on purpose, but he destroyed my leg. Right?
Oh.
He just swung it through, and I flipped up and landed on my shoulder.
Holy crap.
Now, as soon as he hit me, I'm like, no, it's okay. I got it. I went to stand up, and my leg just collapsed.
Right.
I get back up, and Greg is like, don't worry about this. Just drop your head down, spin hook kick. I'm like, you're right. That's great. I'm longer. I'm taller. I can do this. I can touch it out. This homeboy axe kicks me in the head somehow before I could do that, fully stretched out. Mathematically, that should not be possible.
Right.
At one point in the match, I turn back to Greg, and he just does this. And just shrugs. And I lost that match in a very embarrassing fashion. And I don't care to say it. It was Jason freaking Borelli. He beat me 14-2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, we would go a couple tournaments later, and we would go into overtime. Yet, like that one, I got whooped 14-2.
Right.
It would be things like that where Greg was my guy, but yet at one point, he still gives me the shrug, like, I don't know what to tell you. But then there's other times, okay, I'll tell you, there was a time where I was fighting the Compete Nationals in California, and I'm fighting for first place. I'm going to fight Elias Lemon. Very familiar with Elias Lemon. Right. Elias is a very good fighter, but I fought Elias a lot of times. He's not a surprise on his end as to how I'll fight him, and vice versa. Right? We're very familiar. I understand you. So Ray had just lost to Ross, either for the heavyweight grand or for first place, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So Ray was just kind of walking around. Now, Ray and I have always been friends, right? So he says, "Oh man, you about to go fight? They got them Paul Mitchell cats over there. I'm gonna come behind you." Now, Ray is extremely smart, and I've listened to some of the things that he says, and I think in my head, like, wow, I never really thought of it that way. Now he's telling me to do things that I've never ever done before.
Right.
He's Raymond Davis. Obviously, I'm gonna listen. All right. So I get whooped because I'm trying to do things that I've never done before in live action, and later on, I'm like, tell me what it was that you were telling me to do, and he taught me what it was. But in the moment, I couldn't do those things. So that knowing the guy that you're coaching is so important. So I never really understood, because this has happened to me. I'm sure it's probably happened to you, where someone came up to me and said, "Hey, will you coach me?" Now I'm saying no, but I don't know you. I can't. If I tell you to do what I would do or what I see to do in that moment, that same thing might happen that happened to me when Ray was telling me to fight. Now, that's not Ray's fault, right? It's just the situation the two of us were in, right? Ray looked at what was happening and knew, it's Elias. I got him, because Elias had beat him to that point. So Ray looks at it like, I fight with my right side. All of us right side fighters, I can do everything, but I've never done that thing.
Yeah.
So it was so hard. Now,
it's true.
Let's talk about the importance of coaches. I don't think they're that important. I don't think they're vital.
I think so. Here's one of the things. I think a coach is very vital in the dojo, in the classroom. And so what makes me upset is when people, this is kind of a coordinator thing, but when people hold up rings, I'm waiting on my coach. Like, start fighting, and then he'll come up there when you can. It's just the way it is. It's like you're not required to have a coach. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's just the way it is. And if you really feel like you have to have someone behind you, then grab someone else. It doesn't matter. I think sometimes that's kind of made things worse with our younger, like our students and stuff. I remember my tournament, I just eventually said, I'm not coaching my tournament anymore. I have all my students there. And honestly, I think that's the best. I think that's something that you shouldn't do anyway. I think if you are running a tournament, you should not be coaching, and you have your students coach. Just if you are the one that picks all the judges and places them in the rings, and then you're there coaching, doesn't make much sense. So
someone was paying to go to your tournament, and then you're coaching against them.
Correct.
Then it looks like you never really wanted them to even succeed at your tournament anyway.
Right. Correct. And that's something. Right. And that was something that even someone who's a really high energy, I'll call him crazy coach, Cass Sigmund, he, at least when he had his tournament for 2-3 years, he made sure that he was not doing it. And him and I would like sit together, because I'd be running the tournament and he'd be sitting like, hard, huh? Not coach. He's like, yeah, but I know it's the right thing. I'm like, there you go, And You know, even someone like that who's diehard about that, you know, about that life. It's
Okay.
he
Here's
notices
another.
it,
Here's another one. Here's another one. All right, because you've always been the forms guy on a fighting team.
right?
How much do you care if the fighters are there first thing in the morning watching your division?
All right.
Got to hear this.
All right. So, man, I don't know. I'm a team person. I mean, I like it, but I'm not. So this is what the problem was. I was the so because I was the junior and I was at the time the only one I think doing forms. Everyone else that was doing forms was an adult. So I started a little bit earlier, right? So this is when we had
A bit
me,
early.
yeah, me, Jason, John Sue, Karen Belanger. Like we had a solid team, you know, and Mike Corelli.
Yeah.
Us five did forms, right? But I started a little bit earlier than them. They went a little bit after me. So everyone had to get up. But I got so many people. I got so many people fined because they weren't there. And I felt so bad. But then after a while, it kind of got funny because it was just like, if they didn't show up on time, they got fined. The team would fine them, you know, if they didn't show up. So, yeah, so I was, you know, I was kind of the
But
reason
how
for
much
people to
did
get
you
fined.
care? How much did
No,
you care?
well, all right, in the long run, like, I guess not, but I like having people. I mean, of course, here's the deal. I know that the people I was going against were all on forms teams, and they had 20 people around them yelling, right? And so if my team wasn't there, then I'm there by myself, right? So I think that's probably what people are thinking, right? As far as care or not, I don't care. The form I was doing, I had everyone going crazy anyway. It didn't matter, you know what I mean?
Right.
But what I'm saying is that support is support, you know, and it does feel good when you got people, you know, pumped up. I know that Damon always loved watching my forms, and I used to love hearing Damon yell for me. That was cool. Uh, Especially like the last time, what was it? Battle of Atlanta. I finally got to do Intergalactic on a NASCAR stage, and this dude is yelling me like it was like 2001. It was so funny. Just like, you know, it was when I was 17 again. And I remember hearing that like, yeah, all right. Like it was fun, right? So, so I mean, it helps,
All
but
right.
I
How
don't
about
need it. I mean, I go to tournaments by myself, you know what I mean? I don't necessarily like need it, you know, like I still feel bad for people getting fined because they didn't come watch me, but you know, but yeah, so,
I did this. You know, I used to do forms
right,
earlier in my competitive years. I did them a lot.
right.
And the guys that I would train with, right, we had an actual forms team that we trained with.
Right.
Right? Get into our next topic of team forms.
Yeah.
But when I was doing, but when I was still doing forms and I had, you know, the fighters that I was with, one time Hamid came to watch me do forms. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I just think I want forms. I'm like, that's got to be the most boring thing for you ever. I'm down here
Yeah.
early, getting touched up, going through my mental prep.
Right.
Literally not gonna fight for like 6 hours.
Right.
What are you gonna do? And he's like, oh, I just thought you'd like it. And I'm like, I mean, I do, but I really don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's
I got
nothing.
you.
What are you gonna tell me?
That's
There's
funny.
nothing you can tell me.
No.
Other than,
No.
good
Yeah.
job. Well, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that you thought it was
Yeah.
a good job. All right. But that's about it, right?
Right.
Now, Greg, heck no. That dude never wanted to. And I didn't want him there. Actually,
Right.
I used to joke, because I told you before, like I used to love making Greg mad at
Right.
tournaments.
Right.
I mean, it was the funniest thing in the world for me. I could push his buttons better than anyone, right? And I used to tell him, I said, "You're gonna." I was messing with him, like, "You're gonna be down there." He's like, he would get mad, like, "No, I'm never gonna go there." So we would just get into that, because what's the point? There's
Right.
nothing you can do for me.
Right.
The coaching is done
Correct.
before I got here.
Right.
Now, the only other thing is if I did something and I wasn't aware of it, and someone watching my form can help me with that. But now we got videos.
Right.
You know what I mean?
True.
We don't have to wait for Black and Blue videos to come out and have Wally show us.
Right.
You know, got it right now. So, all right, the next topic of team forms, it kind of goes right into it because the team forms that I was with, I loved doing team forms when I had one because the group that we were with, none of us were the best in our divisions, except for Jenny Johnson Blanchard. Jenny Johnson Blanchard,
yeah, she was really good.
I've ever seen in my life. She was freaking phenomenal. Her form was like actually perfect, All right, so she was the only one who was like the business in her division. She would win grands, but like some people might not remember this name. I know you will because you remember everyone's name. Like Catherine Miller.
Right.
Catherine Miller was our coach because I had no idea what we were doing. Right. A guy named Nick Wynn. Right. Nick was one of my closest friends. Slick Nick. And,
right.
And there was a core of people that we had, and we would do team forms. And Catherine was extremely creative.
Yes.
And we would do different things. We would do. All right, here's the thing. I actually listened to today. It just popped up when I had my music going on shuffle. Intergalactic came on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking about you. But we did. Catherine made this team form that we did to Kumo D's "I Go to Work."
Nice.
Which is a really dope song.
Yeah.
It took us a long time, and we could not envision what it was that she was doing. And so for like weeks, we would just be training these hand combos, and we would just be playing games with each other. And we would have legit 4 to 5 hour form training workouts. That's just what it would be. I don't know of a lot of fighters that do 5 hour fighting training. It's obnoxious. It's just dumb, right? For fighters, right? Because you're fatigued and you're exhausted after hour 3. Now you're just training bad habits, right?
Right.
But you're training a totally different way for forms. But we'll get into that another time. So we would do things like that. So I really liked team forms, and that was another reason why I liked doing team fighting as well, because none of us were the best in our division either, but yet somehow we were able to win a couple of team fighting matchups, and that felt like we were the man, we were the bomb. But then come Saturday, we'd all get whooped. We'd all take second.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, for a while, people would say that about CJB and Elite at first. You know, we won team for a long time, but then didn't win grands. That happens sometimes, you know. But again, we can get into that later. But as far as team forms, I hate them.
Why do you hate them? Why do you hate it?
So you remember the last time I made up a form, like a creative form? It was like 1998, man. Like, I make my forms up on the spot. So imagine,
That's
someone
so great about them.
Right. So you can't do that with team forms. If you see, if I mess up or I slip, I go right on to something else. Like, all right, this isn't working. If it's slippery on the floor, I'm about to do a technique. I'm like, oh, we're gonna change this right now. Can't do that with team forms. And so that was always my thing. All right, I had some. So the team form, like I told you last year, that Lyle Beniga and I did, that was cool. That was fun. But again, it was still different. It was a different time. We had some stuff that were like 6 things together. He did a thing. I did a thing. 6 things together. He did. It was a different thing, right?
It was a different time.
Then I'm trying to think. Oh, and I also did one with a training buddy of mine, Jason Hudson, that was from my system before, and that was fun, but just still different, right? Then on Team Elite, it was me and Ida Henley, and I don't know if you remember. You remember her? Okay. So swing music is the thing at the time, and somehow I let
I
my
remember that's
I
right. I
let
don't remember. I remember hers though.
so she had already did a team form with Matt Comiskey for a long time, right before she got on Team Elite,
Right.
and John and Al were doing the team form with the
Yeah, I don't
Cha
like it.
Cha or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
I
So
hated that.
somehow I let my mom and her mom convince us that we should do swing music because it'll be different, and because if we both went out there and did our traditional form, which we were both really good at and we were winning at, no, they're not going to appreciate that. So let's do this stupid form to some swing music. We did this 3 tournaments, and I was like ready. I just felt like both of us were like embarrassed as heck, right? And we're like, yeah, we ain't ever doing this again. It was the worst thing ever. And when we both should have gone out and done Konkudai together, right? That would have been awesome. We probably would have done really well with that. But and then my next one, CJB decided, hey, you have to do a team form. You got to do this or that. Corinne did not really want to do it because she had a team form at the time with one of her students, and she was just like, Jeff and I can't train like every day, like what it takes. And Conroy, what it takes, like practicing once a week or once every time we see her, it's not going to work.
Right.
And she was strict on that. She's like, I'm not doing it. And it wasn't nothing against me. She just understood. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. That's why I don't like doing this. But Spencer, the sponsor, and Mike were like, no, we want a team form. We got to have a team form. So
y'all should have just picked up the person she did team form with and then
right. Correct. But so this all happens on our training camp and then our cruise. So everyone was really impressed because we had to do a demo on the cruise. And everyone was impressed with Leroy Tankson's creative forms.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so we're doing a demo, and all of us are doing stuff. Renee has to do a form. He does a little thing. Mallory Woods does a thing. Claire does a thing. But they're all really impressed with Leroy. And I love Leroy, but he should not have been doing team forms with me, man. So he comes to my house for a week. We go to Dixieland Nationals, and then the next week he rides up with me to my house, which is about 5 hours away, stays in my house for a week, and we train. And we train outside, making up a team form to go to DC. I should just go ahead because I'll forget this now. He was scared to death to come to my house. I'm in a little town called Rustburg, Virginia, in the South, and he's like, I don't see any black people anywhere. He was freaking out, man. And I just couldn't stop but laugh. I couldn't help but laugh. He was just, he's from like, Chicago. So just loving it, right? So let's see, what did he do? We have 4-wheelers. He wrecks the 4-wheeler into an electric fence. One night we have like an electric fence outside. We're like messing around, running around the house. He clotheslines himself on the electric fence. Like it was a light one, not, dude, it was a funny time. All right. It was just hilarious. All right. We really definitely got him introduced to the country. So
should have led with this story.
Yes. So then we go to DC, right? So Capital Classics, 2001. I did my form. I felt great. Everything was awesome. And we're all like, all right, we're doing team forms. And it's Wayne and Casey versus me and Leroyce, and I don't remember the rest. So pretty much we're ready to go do the form. We bow in. I do this move where he goes on his knee and I do some type of like one hand handspring over his back, which was pretty cool, right, at the time. And then turn around, and then after that he just blinks. And I'm doing the whole team form, and he's watching me going
Oh
I'm just going, right? And he's just like he's listening to the music, and his head, he's just kind of like, oh, it was bad. It was really bad.
He's like that dude in karaoke who forgot most of the words.
Right. Yeah, like after the fact, oh, yeah. Or it's like It's like when you don't know the first 4 lines of it, but you know the last word or something like that, right? Yeah, that's what it was like. And I love Leroy to death. He's like my brother, man. We were like, that was one of my best friends. But dang, none of us will ever let him live that down. I mean, that was so. Those are my team form experiences, man. And then
well, I had vastly different experiences than that. So you mentioned Wayne Douglas. Everybody doesn't remember Wayne Douglas. It was a junior, and his bow form was some of the fastest like ever.
correct.
So Casey trained him, so his bow techniques were solid. He's great. But Wayne Douglas was also from St. Paul, Minnesota. So
Right.
we would train. So I remember, so NK had a team form because Catherine Miller would always coach us. So in 1999, we did the opening demo of the Diamonds. I said it wasn't me. I sucked, so they didn't let me on the team. But they wouldn't say that. I'll be honest. That's probably what it was. So, but it was a huge group of people, and there was other guys like Travis Johnson. But people don't know who he is.
No, I remember. Yeah.
We had so many people that were a group of people that we were around that were so great at different things. I mentioned Jenny Johnson Blanchard earlier. Jenny Johnson Blanchard, and there's been other people that do this. She could kick straight up and down.
Right.
I think Jenny was the best that did that. Jenny also had a point in her form where she would just hold a kick, like it wasn't completely vertical, but she would just stop. Yeah. She would hold a kick and just for a ridiculous amount of time. But she did it out of a hand combo and then just would stop and hold it.
Right.
And she would go right into another kick combo again from there. And I never seen anybody do that.
Right.
Now, we just had so many things to feed off of. Nobody was the best except for Jenny. So that's how we really all started to get better and better and better. But I got to tell you a story. So I mentioned Travis Johnson. Now, Travis at the time was really trying to get me into breakdancing. So breakdancing died, right, after the 80s, right? So towards the late 90s in Minneapolis, it started to pick up again, right? Towards
yeah.
the late
Stephen Horst was big in it.
Steve Horst was another one.
Yeah.
So Stephen Horst, Travis Johnson were really integral as far as bringing the breakdancing culture back up in Minneapolis. There was guys like Daylight. Nobody had real names. Everybody, like Travis's his name is Sequel, right?
That's Sequel. I like that.
Sequel, all right? But he had a bunch of different names. He had Crazy Legs, different things, but Sequel is his latest name. This dude's super freaking cool. But I was kind of like started to get in on the ground level, and we would just learn different moves like Apple Jacks and different things. But then we would put them into forms.
Yeah.
And they would try different things like that as well. Those guys took off, and Travis is legit like a world-class breakdancer. Like he goes to like competitions all over. Last time I talked to him, he said he just left a competition in Switzerland.
Right? Wow. So, awesome.
Right? Yeah. So we would do things like that. Now, my brother and I, we had a team form. This is like 2000, no, it was like 2001, 2002-ish. Okay. So we had a team form. It was right before he went to the Marine Corps, right? We would do team forms a lot. So, and we did this thing where I did like a side swipe and I would go down to a knee and we would time it where at the same time I'm coming down, my brother's doing a double leg going right over the top. My brother could get freaking high, right?
Yeah.
We were good, all right? We weren't the best, but I felt like at the time, like we were competitive. We were competitive with Anthony Atkins and Ryan Pinkston.
Right.
Guys like that. Now, it's funny, you mentioned your story with Leroyce. There's a guy named Dai Vo who got all the talent in the world. Nobody knows who he is, right? Dai was legit clean. His basics reminded me of like David Douglas, but the dude could do all the tricks too. And he was great, but never really won anything. So Dai and I, we did a team form. It was Diamonds in 2003, right? So we're doing this team form. And we trained this for forever. At one point in the form, we were doing aerials like this far apart from each other, like right next to each other. We're going side by side, right across each other. Well, Dai forgets to do that part. Dai freezes in a punch. You can't see. You have to just know. You can't look.
Right.
Are you there? No, you just go. So I do the aerial, and this dude's standing in a punch. So I crash into him.
Oh, man.
Now, this is at the time where it wasn't just, oh, we're in this ring. No. At the Diamonds, at that time, we mentioned this earlier. This is when we were in St. Paul, where it had the big Friday night stage. Everybody look. Here's everybody doing team forms.
Correct.
Watch out, fall right on his head. Yeah, that was great. Now, I still love team forms.
Yeah.
You don't like it. Who do you think's the
all right, so the best
who's the best?
There's a lot of different ones, and I think right now the big thing is, should they divide like traditional with creative? And I think now they've done more forms and weapons, right? I believe. I'm not sure. Every tournament's a little different. I think they've gotten a little bit better on that, but I know that's a big thing in NBL is they want a separate one, and I think they have that in WKC. They have a traditional one and an open style one, which I think does help because it is different. But I like it when I like when people kind of mix it up, right? So I'll just tell you right now before I get in my best, my student and I did one where we started with OG and then finished right after the spin sidekick, right? And paused for a second. At that point, we had someone that cued the music, and all of a sudden it switched right to creative form. And it was really cool, right? Because it was different. No one expected it. They thought we were doing, and they went right to a creative form. And if we would have, but again, that was my fault because we're two different people. Like I'm like,
right.
I'm gonna go. All right, we'll figure it out, And so that was the problem with that. It was my fault. My student did a good job. Me, not. But him and one of my other students ended up winning several world titles in NBL with that over some good teams. One time I had to step in because my student got his arm broken. His first fight at Super Grands, the beginning of the week. They already made it was the same day. They made the finals for team forms to go and win the world title. And he got sidekicked and landed like right on his arm here. And it broke. He had actually a full break in there. So he was done for the rest of the week. So because in the rules, it was my student, Jacob Watson, he entered the division. He could pick whoever he wanted as his teammate, right? So I was able to substitute for Aaron, for my student Aaron Bailey. And so I went on stage and I'm freaking out. And so the way they do their form was they do Conquer Die or Conquer Show, but they do it facing away from each other. So they're not even looking at each other the whole time, and they're crossing without even seeing each other. So it's really difficult, and that's what I like. That's the reason why I don't think if you did a separate traditional, they would allow that because they're like, there's certain rules. And it has to be this way, right? So we're doing that. I'm freaking out, man. Because like I said, I don't like traditional forms. Sorry. I love traditional forms. I don't like synchronized forms, okay? So,
okay.
and I'm, all of a sudden, I bow, and he immediately thinks, oh, crap, this is going to be bad. Because I just start going, like adding all these stupid breaths and everything in to cue all this crap. We're on stage at Super Grands, live stream, everything. And I'm sitting there like, God, this is the worst thing ever. Somehow we win. And and the Guatemalans got pissed. Oh, man, it was bad. But, hey, whatever. It is the way it is. But, we were strong. We were good. But the difficulty that people don't understand about doing that, is tough. So those are all the reasons why I don't like doing team forms, okay? I have bad experiences. So, anyways, my favorite team forms ever, Mike Welch and Jess Briscoe. Those are up there for me. Those are two of my favorite. And I love trying to figure out which one I mean, Imming and Sterling is one of my favorites, man. I love those two guys. And I think a lot of it is the music and the flavor that they had. And the same thing with Mike and Spritko, you know, and at the time when they were really winning team forms, they weren't winning yet in their division. You know what I mean? They were the up and coming ones, but together they were awesome. You know what I mean?
Been talking about.
Yeah, so it was really cool. So, yeah, I mean, those were some of my favorites. I liked because it was so different. Casey and Lauren Carney with the one bow and doing it together, very different and creative, and I like that.
Now listen to what you're talking about. You're talking about what you're mentioning are things that are so different.
Right.
Now, we're gonna talk about that later.
Oh, correct.
Who do you think is really the best? The best ever. Like you're talking about your favorites, and I agree with you on those. Yeah. Who's the best? What team form is the best?
God. Yeah.
I'm forgetting both the names. I think it was who did the team form with Danny Etkin?
Aiden Considine or that's before that? Yeah.
That's the best.
Okay.
Nobody's better. That's the best.
Yeah.
And I love Emig and Sterling. All right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I dig me some Mike Welch and Jess Briscoe. I love those dudes. I love that.
Yeah. Right.
Considine and Etkin. That's
it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
So impossible the things
that they do.
Did, and they did it in sync. Here's what's so great about it. If you look at it, you look at just one. If you just took one of them and you didn't look at the other, that's a championship.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Now,
correct. That's true.
But really, if you look at team forms, they're impressive because you put them together. All right.
Right.
You just looked at one of them, you go, I mean, you golf class, those are pretty good. No, they're that good that if you just looked at one of them, that would be like the best form of the night. And they did it together, and they did it at the same time, and they didn't look at each other.
Right.
Best.
Yeah.
The best.
Yeah, it's pretty true. Okay, on the same end though, you could say the Presley's bow form. You know, the double bows and back and forth. That was pretty dope. And
okay, yeah.
And the difficulty of that
is
pretty crazy.
Aren't you a little tired of the bows and the ball?
Well, all right, yes, but I mean, I can also say I'm a little tired of the tricking at times. I mean, I can be tired of a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? But I still gotta appreciate what what it is. You know, I mean, I think.
I get your point.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really cool ones that just sometimes just didn't click or didn't get enough time together. Like Marcel Jones and Calvin Chokum. Love that form. But also at the same time, was that better than Steve Torres and Marcel Jones or Steve Torres and Calvin Chokum? Like all of them.
Marcel and Calvin was better.
Yes, but I'm just saying that was the forerunner to it, and it was just as good. It was just, I mean, it was, and that's the thing. Like it took Steve Torres to another level. You know, I mean, I loved it. It was great.
So it sounds like you're acknowledging that team forms is really good. You just personally don't like it.
Correct. Okay. And at a time there were certain ones that I just got tired of seeing, and I think that was just me. You know, there were certain ones, but.
The Jungle Care ones. You listening? Time.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Oh man.
I like Prince. I like Prince a lot. So like time. I'm tired of hearing the intro to Jungle Love. All right.
Yeah. Right.
That's it. And if you were at a karate tournament in 1998, it was impossible to not hear that song.
Correct.
30,000 times a weekend.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to our next topic, competitors of the week.
Yes.
This is the point where Jeff and I We point out our competitor of the week. We talk about why we think this person should or should not be highlighted. Jeff, you want to go first or should I go first?
You go first, yeah.
My competitor of the week is Tyreek Saint. Never met this guy. Never talked to him. Never had a conversation with him one time. But I've seen him fight, and I'm extremely impressed with him, his skills, his ability, and his performance and the way that he's been able to win at a time when it's so deep at lightweight. It's so deep in other lightweight divisions, and he's finding ways to beat whether he goes through them or not. Guys like Enrique Latona,
right.
Bailey Murphy, Kevin Walker, and then really the list goes on and on.
Right.
And as I watched him, and I mentioned before, like I watch fights and details of fights from fights that aren't even in like championship. This might be a match for third place, and I'll just look at that and dissect that because I just really love it.
Right.
There's matches I still look at from like 2014. And I'm just like really impressed by certain things, and I just go back to that. But when I look at him, and he just was never intimidated, and at a time when you think like, geez, Bailey's the business, and it had all the opportunity. Like if Bailey just ended up just beating you in the end, nobody would really be that upset because you look at it and go, dude, it's Bailey Murphy, right? Like that dude became something, right? And now Tyreek decided, no, I'm something, dude.
Yeah.
The heck up. This one before me, I wasn't there yet.
That's pretty awesome.
I think he is my competitor of the week.
Right. Great kid. Let's see. I met him through Sam Simeon. He came to my tournament several times to help with blitz kick and would fight. And him and at the time Yakub were like rivals as juniors and just battling back and forth and everything. What was that?
They're on the same team now.
Right. And so amazing guy. And let's see, the last time I had my tournament, he decided out of nowhere to decide the last second to do open weight and then made it to the finals and lost to Cam. And just a good young man, great team, great school with Troy and that. And I mean, people have been talking about him. I mean, I remember people talking about him as a junior and, moving up and pretty awesome to watch him. Yeah, because did you watch the fight with him and Bailey at America? It was just insane. Like, what did they score? Like 21 points on each other or something like that? It was just the craziest thing I ever seen. And just sitting there like, good Lord, and
lose like at 3 different times.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it was just, it's not just athleticism. It's like taking that to a whole nother level, because it's determination, motivation, mindset with, and they're smart too. They know what they're doing. So it's exciting to watch this in the future, and see them grow. So pretty awesome. I'll go with mine, and I'll do another fighter, and kind of similar as well. But I have a background in them just because I remember when they first kind of came out, first time I saw them, and it was like a rare thing that what they accomplished. So Hector Solori, he's on Velocity, right?
Right.
Sometimes I don't even know if he's at a tournament until I see who's in the finals, and all of a sudden he's in there, either in open weight or in this and that. And I don't know if he's necessarily the most consistent of like, but he's always in the finals somehow. You know what I mean? Like one tournament he'll do really well open weight, one tournament he'll do well in his division, one tournament he'll do this or that, but he's gonna be there. You know what I mean? One tournament he did an awesome pickup team or whatever and made it.
You know who that reminds me of? Jack Felton.
Well, yeah.
Because Jack Felton's such an introvert. Like he'd just be hanging out. He's not gonna be boisterous. He might just hang out in his hotel room, just hang out by his ring, do his division, and then you see him in the finals, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's right, Jack Felton's here.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
Correct.
We watch the finals, and then obviously you would know that he's there because he's always in it.
Correct. So like I think of Hector's from Mexico. His dad is his coach and runs the team Azteca, and they were a big team in Mexico. And he has done a bunch this year of like going everywhere. He fought, Waco. He was, I think it was Austrian or maybe best fighter there. He won the overall and and also beat. I'm trying to remember if he beat Troy or if he beat Tyreek there, but it was one of our other Americans that went. Remember that? So the same time as Battle of Atlanta, I think it was Best Fighter was that
Right,
weekend.
that's what Best Fighter is.
Yeah. And so Tyreek was there, Troy was there, Bailey was there, and Hector was there.
Is that the one where they make you take your shirt off?
I think that's the different one.
Fighting Cup.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway,
yeah.
He won that, right? He won that event over not just the top guys from Europe, but also like our guys too that are,
Right.
Yeah. So he's doing that. He's always in the finals. What was really, I thought him as a lightweight fighter, but he's won several heavyweight grands or been in the finals of heavyweight grands. And so it's just surprising to me, I love watching him fight. Great kicker, great bullets, just for me, kind of the same thing. Not afraid, like just going to go after it. And I just feel like you can't ever count him out. Like he can fight anybody,
Not.
Yeah. So from Mexico, first time I saw him, 2013 at Super Grands, and him and his team came out of nowhere and beat like several. Like I think they were. No, the year before they went to get in the finals against the proper team, right? And I don't remember if they beat them or not. I think they did win that year, and that was a rare thing. Then Hector won, and I think he was one of the first Mexican junior fighters to win, and then also win at U.S. Open that same year. Won Super Grands and U.S. Open the same year as a junior, and they just he just goes everywhere. He's traveling a lot with Waco right now. Mexico, the government of Mexico right now is really sponsoring their Waco team. So so he's going wherever they want him to go for that. And he's also with Velocity. So like I said, you never know where he's at. So he's active, he's good, and he's winning like heavyweight divisions or at least getting up there.
How much is this guy?
He must be in what, light welter or no, I don't know the division. A light middle or what's the
he's been light middle. Been light middle.
Yeah. So I guess he's light middle. See, and that's still weird to me. The
weight, is he just like you never know where he's gonna be? Is he like
right
karate where he's
correct
no weight this time?
Right. Well, and it's kind of like I think he's in that same kind of thing as Kevin too. How he kind of moved back and forth from light to that light middle. So.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I don't know how Kevin, because Kevin's tall. Kevin, I think he's like 6 feet tall.
Right.
How the heck does Kevin get down to like 140 to 100? I don't know how.
Yeah. I don't know how. Yeah. It's crazy.
Go ahead. Yeah, and he's good.
Yeah. So again, congratulations. Those are and again, when we say competitor of the week, I don't think it means like what they did this week. Like this is someone we want to highlight. And it could be any reason why. Like, we want them to know, hey, we like what you're doing and we appreciate it. And maybe even tell their story that some people haven't really, told before,
We might take a competitor from 1993. Who knows? There's no rhyme or reason to what we're going to do.
Correct.
We say what we want.
That's right. I do what I want, guys. All right.
Okay. Next segment. This is new. Should it stay? Or should it go? This is where we talk about a couple of things that are on the fence that we really like about where our sport is going, or we just like about our sport in general, and we want it to stay. And then there's a couple of things that we think they should just jump in a lake and they should go and be gone forever.
Oh, God.
Let's talk about the things that should stay. Jeff, you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Ah, man. Jeez. You go first, because
Okay.
that's a hard one for me.
Yeah. The thing I think should stay, one of the things I think should stay, is ASG. Now,
yeah?
I don't
Okay.
wear a lot of ASG things. Okay. But I do wear, I have all ASG gear. I have ASG headgear. I have ASG hand and foot pads. I train with them. I don't only train with them. I also train with Top 10 stuff. And I love foam foot pads. So
Yeah.
I train with that as well. But ASG as a whole really has done a lot of things. Now, the reason why you would think just at this, like, what do you mean it should stay? Why would it go anywhere? We've
Right.
seen this before.
Correct.
We've seen this happen before. People don't remember. You remember, Jeff, because you don't ever forget anything, ever. Do you remember the gear Shihan?
Yeah, Shihan, they sponsor a lot of teams, and then just out of nowhere, I think 96, 97, they were pretty much done.
And that gear was the
Yeah.
business.
It was awesome,
The
man.
gear was so strong. It was soft. It was light, and you would like tug on it, and it wouldn't tear. Oh, it was awesome.
And it was cool because no one else was doing colors like that or designs like that. It was almost like
orange, yellow,
and it had
blue.
It's not tie dye because tie dye doesn't make it sound cool, but it was like something. You know what I mean? Like it was just
like
a
swirl of some kind.
Yeah, that swirl. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Man. And their headgear, it was different colors. So you had like the blue with the white extra cushion, right, or whatever extra.
One thing I like about the headgear had a plastic clip.
Yeah,
if you got hit, that freaking hurt.
That's right.
You get hit in the chin with a hook kick when they kick the plastic on your chin. Yeah.
Right. No.
That's a big bag of suck.
Oh,
so,
man.
I really feel like ASG, don't go anywhere. Jason Chen, awesome guy. I think he should stay forever. I think it should stay.
All right. So as you were saying that, I actually it kind of clicked for me for some of the things. And this isn't probably one that people think would go, but I have heard it in a while. I mean, a lot of debate, and in different places they do it one way and other way and all this. But for me, it's 3-man teams. 3-man teams should definitely stay. A lot of people like the 5-man team that they used to have back in the day. A lot of people like the 3 men, 1 woman. I like that too. But there's nothing like 3-man team fighting, man, because you can get more teams with 3 men. You can really, it's just team fighting's the best division, at every tournament. So for people that want to change it for this or that, and I don't I see where they're going with trying to do an international or that, but Travis and Chris hit on the head. You could say everyone is international. So what does it really matter? It's right now there's so many teams that have someone from another country. So what does it really matter? Put them all in there and make it worth it. And again, to some people it may seem like, well, that doesn't make why would that go anyway? Kind of like what you're saying with ASG, but
right.
There have been talks, and in Europe for a while they didn't do it, right? Or do they do it now? Do they do 3 men now in Irish Open? I know it seems like teams changes every year. Irish Open.
Irish Open, as far as I understand, they're grandfathered into a different thing. There's the Irish Open rules, and then there's just kind of
the WACO
culture of everybody else in WACO.
Right.
So, because here's what I love about what the Irish Open does is they have 3-woman team fighting.
Right.
And
we used to do that.
Nobody does that.
Right.
And I hate the excuse that tournaments will give. Well, there's no women. We hold the division, and there's no women that enter it. It's because you never hold it because they don't think there's going to be anybody there. Right?
That's true. That's true.
So long. Why are they going to show up? And now in the States, we don't have 3-woman team fighting. We have 2 women.
2 now,
But it's growing a lot more. It's been taking a little bit.
Correct. We used to have 3-woman team in NBL for a long time, and it was really cool. It was great to see. And then we
could
tried
be close back to that.
We tried to push it in NASCA and as Team Elite, and we put a team together and did it at about 4 or 5 tournaments, and it was okay here and there, and then it just kind of fell off again. So I don't know, man, but 3-man teams are staying. I would love to see 3-woman teams come back, but I think we need to push 2-women teams just as much. So,
well, yeah, that's a whole nother.
All right, yeah, we'll get in that another time.
Freaking much.
Yeah.
Okay. Should it go? I will go first.
All right.
Here's what should go, and this sounds dumb, but round off flash kicks.
Yes.
One corner next.
All right, that was a good one.
That's 30 years old. That needs to go.
Yeah.
In an age where a flash kick, okay, it was pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's the thing. Like, if that's just your, okay, that's pretty good. You did that, right? Golf clap. That's literally where we are with that move right now.
Right.
So why are you doing the entire, like, diameter of the ring to do that?
Right.
And it draws and makes this build up like it's the biggest move that you're going to do, when you literally just look at that and go, okay, carry on with your form now, please. What did you just waste my time for? You wasted my time, and I'm angry at the fact that you insulted my intelligence, that I had to sit here and look at that. Don't make me a judge in extreme or musical forms and do that move. I might dock you just because. I won't do that.
And then what sometimes, in my opinion, is almost even worse, they're all the way back in the corner, and they want to finish their form. So they go and decide to do a jump front kick to finish, and they do the worst jump front kick ever. And everyone, for a while, it's not only do they do the round off flash, they also did the axe kick jump front kick or shuffle front kick jump front kick to finish the form. That was just the same as well, And
it ended right before the flash kick. Just end it. Because as soon as you go to the corner and you do this big thing, like, we already know what's going to happen from that point on. The only difference might be the little bit of a hand combo that's different at the very end after the front kick. And then you're going to end with your fist down at your waist, screaming at my face, drool coming out of your lip. I don't care.
Yeah. So I think it's hard to tell a kid not to do that in their form. So I find different ways to do it. So I tell my students, okay, if you're doing that, you're going straight ahead, or you're going sideways, or you're doing this or that.
What do you mean it's hard to tell someone not to do it?
All right. They're like, I got to learn a backflip, sensei. I got to learn a flash kick. I got to do this, like this person that they're doing. Okay. Now, here's my thing. Okay, you can do that, but you can't do it like them. You got to do it in a different way. Because what I want my students to be is like learn to be themselves and not just follow what everyone else does. So I have one of my kids, my 12-year-old, he does round off flash, immediately lands in a pop 720 into a cart full. Like,
okay, now that's something cool.
Yeah, like who else lands in a flash kick and lands pop 720? Like, it's cool,
As soon as you said that, I wanted to see it.
Right. I'll have to send it to you. Yeah.
So my interest.
Because it's different. It's creative way of combining two things, right? And so that's something that, like, because I've said this before too. I tell everyone, like, when I do seminars or talking or whatever, be the real you, be the true you. Find out who you really are, and then show that. It's the same thing in wrestling terms. It's like when you have a character, it's just you leveled up a notch. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. And that's what you need to do in your forms. It's the same thing.
What I think is happening there, Jeff, is like you encouraged that in your student. But when you say, if you were to look at a good portion, I don't want to say a majority because I don't know everybody. Right. If you would look at a good portion of the competitors, especially juniors today, who are doing creative extremes or musical forms, and say, hey, just be you, they might look at you like you have two heads.
Correct, because they don't know who that is.
Well, what do you mean? Just tell me what to do.
Yeah,
No,
correct.
you do what's your personality.
Right.
They don't. They might not have their personality when it comes to form.
Yeah, not yet. It took me a while too.
I use this analogy as well. All the forms are starting to look the exact same. There's a reason, all right? Because they have people that just make their forms for them, all right?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe this. This aggravated the heck out of me when I first found out about this. And I'm like, what do you mean? You're going to have somebody else who's not you make your form that you have to do? And you know what that made me think of? It's the music industry.
Yeah.
It's the same as the music industry.
That's true.
You have somebody who's a really talented musician or singer or artist, and somebody else makes their song who's not them, who can't do everything that they do, and they make them do that. But here's the thing. That same person who just made their song is making a half a dozen.
Somebody else's,
That's why they all sound the same, because it's the same person making it. That's why all the forms look the same, because it's the same half dozen people making all of the forms that we're looking at.
Yeah. That was one thing that I was proud of, was that I had like several times, I had 3 of my students or 3 people that I was teaching private lessons in the same division, and all 3 of their forms looked different. You know what I mean? And people couldn't tell, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just because, like anything, I find something to strive after, to be like, okay, that everyone's doing this, I'm doing that. That's just me. That's the way I've always been. But yeah. So all right, I'm stuck between 2 right now. So I guess next week I'll do this other one on what should go.
Say them both.
All right. So World Tour promoters judging. That's mine. That's one I hate. So this, yeah, because again, like it's almost like coaching your own tournament. You know what I mean? To me, in some ways, when you are wanting that person to come to your tournament, when you also are technically, the way that the NASCA board is, you run the league, right? So you shouldn't be the center. I think the promoters should be coordinators and running the event and having judges do that. That is something that is a rule that was something in the NBL we always did. If it was in your conference, you were not allowed to judge. And you had to coordinate. And which was good, because guess what? You were the one running the ring to making sure it flowed and everything like that. I just think there's so many that I think NASCA's doing a better job at it now. It seems like they're trying to get more outside refs, like, like a league or something. I don't know exactly what's going on with that, but like the ProMac. But that is something that always griped me, especially when they had a team, or they had, because several of those had teams, you know what I mean?
Well, right. Now, but see, here's the bummer. There's a couple of guys, there's a couple of promoters that are really, I'm just going to say my favorite one that I've just seen, and they never give him the big divisions. They never make him judge in the finals, and it's Manny Reyes. Manny Reyes is good. I like Manny. I think he's a good judge. Fair. He doesn't always give it to me because he's fair, right? And even though he's wrong, he should always give it to me. I'm just kidding. This is a joke. Don't listen to that.
Right.
No. But the argument that I've heard against that is, well, they're the best judges.
Right.
And, well, it's because you always have them judge.
Right.
You always have them.
You always have them, yeah.
If you never let this person judge, you're never going to get there. And they're operating, and it's not just like NASCAR. There's many other tournaments.
No. Oh, I know. We've done it as well.
They're operating out of fear. Like, well, if we have somebody else, it might go bad. Okay, well, what are you going to do to combat that? You have to train these people.
So who should be training those people? Those awesome judges, right?
Correct.
So the promoters should be the ones training them and doing that, and stepping aside. And because guess what? If you're always going to be there doing it and you're not helping someone else to do it, then it's going to die out, and we're not going to have anybody.
Here's how it's going to change, though. One time, a tournament promoter, let's just say one. Doesn't matter. I don't know who's got something coming. Let's say it's Manny, okay? since I just said his name. Here's how it's going to change. Manny is going to look at all the divisions he has to man and handle, and he's going to handle all of his judges. He's going to train them, and when it comes time for the other NASCAR promoters to go there and be centers, he's going to go, no, it's okay. I've already got them handled. Will
Right.
you help
this or that? Yeah.
Will you help me be a coordinator?
Right.
I've already initiative to take care of this.
Correct.
Then that happens, but we're always looking for somebody else to do that.
Yep.
So Greg Ruth and Terry Carnahan can't fix every problem.
No. And I mean, like I'm saying, they're doing better at having more coordinators because that was something they didn't used to do. And so things I think are moving well in that part. That was kind of our thing for a while. And then honestly, in some ways, the good and bad, the electronic system kind of took that away a little bit to where people didn't feel like they needed as much. And actually they do. Still, there's still ways to help and do that. So that was mine. And the other one I had was seeds. So I don't like having seeds at regular season tournaments. I hate it. That was always a big pet peeve of mine in NASCAR. I'm okay with it if it's like, that was the reason why I liked, the Super Grands format, because you had no seeds during the year. And then that was, you were working to get seeds for Super Grands, right? So, but I like going to a tournament and just going all out and having it there. One of the reasons why I don't like the seeds, and mostly it's in forms, it was a division that Manny was my center. And instead of just, I went to the tournament and I finally got my fourth place seed, and they shuffle it up, right? And he asked, "What's the order of the seeds?" I'm like, "What does it matter? We're the top four. You shuffle them, so it doesn't matter." No, I want to know who the order is.
You're doing
him and Richard Batista.
Who's number 1, 2, and 3. It's over. We've already decided.
Right. So he already in his head.
What the order is.
Yeah.
That you already gonna have a deep notion.
That was one of my, like, when I really decided, hey, I'm gonna try to win both, like every NASCAR tournament I go to and win all the NBL tournaments I go to. That was like my thing, to try to, show a real good Korean form and win. That year was so lopsided for me. I won Amerikick. I got 4th at New England because of that situation. Then I got like 7th at US Open. Then I win DC. Then I won DC, which is probably every year that's probably the best Taekwondo tournament, Korean division tournament, because of, the big influx of everyone from the north that's really good, and then all of the Junri schools and everything else. That's probably one of the top ones. Yeah. So it was just kind of crazy. And I think I lost by one judge at Diamonds that year. And I was just pissed, because I had never been in the finals at Diamonds. Growing up, they would do the runoffs, and they took the top 3, right? 4 years in a row, I was number 4. I was so pissed. 4 years in a row, I was number 4. And so that was one thing. Then the next year, I came back and I didn't lose for like 2 years in Korean and NASCAR or something like that. And I came back and finally made it, in the finals at Diamonds. But, that kind of takes us full circle to what we were talking about last week. But
right. Well, I agree. Seeds have got to go.
Yeah. I just think that, and I think there's a way to, all right, you could still reward the people without having it affect the results. Like, I used to love that, if I was number 1, I would get that division comps. Or even if it's not comp, get half of it off. I mean, get something. Get a discount. Anything. Right. That would be more of a consideration than anything else, But, I mean, I think that's more of a reward than anything else.
Or how about this? Or how about what, like I said, should stay, what ASG used to do? You won your division.
Gloves.
That was the bomb.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. They did that for a while. That was pretty cool.
Really cool.
Yeah. And then you have a bunch of gear sitting around, but it's awesome, right?
Buy those things.
Well, no, it was cool when they did it, and it was all custom and stuff too. That was cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was real cool.
Yeah.
Pretty
Okay,
awesome, man.
I got one more. Should it stay 2-point kicks to the body?
All right, cool. That was written down as well.
2-point kicks to the body should stay.
Go, get out of here.
It should stay.
Get out of here. And we're both kickers, so.
Here's why it should stay. Nobody agrees with me, but I'm right. I'm correct. If you disagree with me, you're wrong. But now, no, that's not necessarily the case. But I'm going to explain, and I'm going to give my case right now.
Oh,
right
man.
Now, we are in, I think it should stay more now than ever before. And the reason why is because the kind of speed and contact that we're calling first contact, just like that. All right. As soon as there's any kind of contact, boom, that's it. We're saying stop. We're calling a point. All right. I am really tired of the body punch back fist, the body punch that hits the butt, the back fist that hits the shoulder, and that's a point. All right. And if a side kick hits it, it's just immediately a point because we're calling contact for the first person, for the person moving forward. If there's contact between two fighters, the person moving forward is almost always getting the point. So it's like a tie in baseball. Tie always goes to the runner. But that's unfair if I'm hitting you at the same time. If we're both hitting at the same time, why are you getting the point? That's not fair. So now we're in a world where it's being called fairly already. Why are we going to take more points away from the unfair call? That's not right.
All right. All right. I completely disagree. So, and
I thought you were going to say I agree.
No, because I'm a kicker, and I do love when I would go to when we were doing NBL and NASCA, and I would go to NASCA and be like, oh man, I can just kick to the side all day long, and I win a bunch of fights in my division because of that. But it was also first to 5 at that time too, so it was like, I'm
glad it's already
that gone. Is gone. Yeah. All right. So I just feel like there's too many chambers that are scoring. There is.
Well, see, I disagree with you.
Too many.
And I see it going the other way. I don't see Chambers scoring. I agree that they used to, but that's not the case anymore. And well, I don't believe that's the case anymore.
Yeah. So I just think that the skill of it to the body. All right. If we were seeing more like round kicks or hook kicks to the body or things like that, maybe. But I just feel like in the essence of it, your leg comes up, it's side kick to the body. That's 1 point. Just to me, it's 1 point. If you have to go to the head, that should be extra points. I think there should be a way to elevate what you're doing within your kicking. So maybe in my idea, it's that if we already are giving 2 points to the body, what's the point to kick to the head, right? So what are we elevating to that?
Kick to the
okay,
body.
Yes. Okay, true. Correct. All right. I get what you're saying with that part, but I just think that we need to have that elevation, and I think with our sport as being, a point sport, it should have that elevation to change it up a little bit. That's why there's a 3-point line. That's why there's a 2, it's 1, 2, 3, and I think I like the 1, 2, 3, hands, kicks to the body, kick to the head is 2, and then 3 is spins. But
okay, so
I'm trying. I don't know. I don't think I have the best argument on that. I agree with most people say on that, and it's just because I feel like that it doesn't take too much, especially if you're saying myself is 5'5", fighting Raymond Daniels. It doesn't take too much for him to lift his leg up and kick me anywhere, but just to say in the body, and now he's getting 2 points.
But right now,
I just said,
that scenario of you're blitzing him, you may not even get to his body. You may hit his
Correct.
back. You may hit his back.
Hey.
They're going to give you the point anyway.
I don't know about that. I don't feel like that. I don't think
We
so.
live in a blitzer's world.
No, I agree. I don't agree
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now. Actually,
yeah,
right now, I think
maybe.
it's been more of a kicker's world right now. It's changing big time. It's changing a lot right now. It's going to more. I think you got to do both now. I think you really do. Um,
So in the end, you agree with me. I'm right.
no, but no, I'm just
Okay.
saying. Like you look at that lightweight division, a lot of those guys are kicking now, man. I mean, a lot. I mean,
All right.
it's different, but
I've
yeah.
been in a very long time. Maybe that's why I'm not looking at it that way. I have not been a lightweight since 2000.
Oh wow. But so that was fun. Anything you want to add? Any
No,
story?
we're gonna keep some of these going back and forth. Some of these segments that we're doing. Um, we talked a lot about the teams, and we talked a lot about the coaches, or the competitors of the week. We're gonna have as well. Um, we're always gonna have stories. But one of the things I think that we need more of as we wrap this up is this might come out of left field.
Uh,
We need more guys like Jerry Fontenez.
oh yeah, and yes.
Jerry Fontenez is the loudest, most boisterous, entertaining guy you'll have the whole weekend of the tournament. But Jerry's passionate, and
Right.
I loved being around karate tournaments and having Jerry Fontenez around because you knew if he was there. You entered the hotel and you heard him echo down the hall, turn left, and then in the ballroom, you could just hear him. And the guy, that guy has got some stories too.
Right. Oh yeah.
So,
Big time. Yeah, I love to sit and talk with him. We would share
yeah,
stories all the time.
I think it needs more Jerry Fontenez's.
All right. So the last time I saw him though was I went up to that Atlantic City thing. That was that super. I don't know. It's like expo thing, martial arts expo, or whatever. All right, and I went up there to like judge, or I don't really know what I went up there for. My tournament was in a few months. I've never been to any of that before. Went to do that, and I think BAM had us doing seminars or something, and that ended up not happening, right? So I'm just sitting there, and Jerry is like, sees me, and I go the whole tournament, and I'm supposed to like judge, and I didn't judge but like one division because he talked to me for 3 hours.
Oh
And
yeah,
just right
yeah.
next to the
It's
ring,
like
and it's
Jerry
just
will talk to you
on
and
and
bring
on
you
and
over.
on, and I'm like, all right, bro, I think we got work to do. All right, bro, like I gotta go. Like, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom, man. Like, no, man, I'm telling you this, and I love him. I remember as a kid, I thought he was like serious, which in some ways he might have been serious, but he knew what he was doing. Like I didn't know if he legitly like hated some of these people or not. Like it was just funny to me, and the best thing was Battle of Atlanta 2000. Yeah, it was 2000. And so what was weird that year, I went by myself. WKA was in Bluegrass. Oh, it was in Bluegrass. It was in the same hotel that Bluegrass was in that year, Louisville. So a lot of the fighters, like SES was there and Elite was there that year. And so not everyone was there, but they did Brian Ruth versus Jerry Fontenez as a set fight. And dude, it was so much fun. And he was just cutting promos the whole weekend on him, and just it was the best thing ever. And I remember just calling like Coach Conroy and Spencer's like, man, y'all missing this because this is funny. And because that was happening, and then also the first time that Kim Do did the Webster, knocked the guy out in the camo uniform. So yeah, and I knew that guy too, poor guy, but I never saw him back at a tournament again.
I mean, come on now.
Yeah, I probably
You
wouldn't
got
either.
hit with a front flip to the face.
Yeah,
The only
he was
way
a
you
pretty
come
decent
back,
fighter, man.
I don't. The only way you come back is if you like, I don't know, kick some dude in the throat and then sent them back, and they were like, oh, maybe that dude's a pretty badass dude. I don't know.
Yeah,
You know?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Unless he like met him outside at the karate tournament or something. That would probably be the only thing.
What was funny is when he did that, I was right. I was sitting, and Butch Marks was right next to me, and Butch even said this. He goes, "Man, if that happened to me, I would quit karate. You'd never see my face again."
Yep, I was right there too. I heard him say. I was just like, oh man, it was
Yeah.
crazy, crazy. Oh
And
man,
Ken Eubanks was the center.
right.
And if there's video on it, people will look at it. But because that was a super light division. I was a lightweight that tournament.
Yeah.
So yes, I was lightweight. I was a lightweight at one point. What? So so Kim does it, and literally the entire tournament storms the ring. The little square that was right there. Everybody bum rushes it.
It's crazy. Like
Pick
picking
him
them
up.
up.
I've never seen anybody storm a ring like that ever before. So a couple people have run into a ring, like if they're fighting, like
Right.
what happened at AKA this year when Jim Haymore just rushed people over. That was entertaining, but nothing like this before. This was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So that's for that.
Pretty crazy. Yeah.
YouTube Kim Do's front flip kick on
And
someone's.
so he did it twice, right? He did it in 2000 and he did it in 2002 at the
Right.
same tournament in the same ring, the exact same facility, everything. It was so funny. Yeah. So that year he was on I guess he was on Straight Up or whatever. So and I remember,
he was Straight Up.
And so I just remember Joey's face in the video. He's like, ah, it was hilarious. So, and who was
And all
it?
the Straight Up on standby. They knew it was a possibility because
Right.
the tournament. Here's what people don't know. That's not the first time he threw it.
Right.
The tournament before was Cactus Classic.
Yeah, that's right.
And he tried it and he missed, but nobody really cared because it's Kim Do. He was bound.
Right. He was going to do whatever. Yeah.
Nobody really paid attention to it.
Correct.
So, and it connected. I'm surprised old boy got up.
Do you remember though? Last thing, when Straight Up won team fighting at U.S. Open with Kim Do on stage. You remember that? It was 2004, and it was, I guess, him, Raymond, and Robbie, I think, was the team, or maybe Joey. And Kim was there.
And they beat
Paul Mitchell. Yeah.
Yeah,
they were, and he was the lead fighter.
We
yeah,
were
it was awesome.
Beat Paul Mitchell.
Yeah.
We were winning. The fight on the anchor match, and I had him. I was up, and I let him get me.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry. But again, that was impressive, man. Like, he was such a good fighter. And I remember at one point he was telling everyone, I think I'm gonna stop doing this form stuff so I can focus on my fight. And everyone was telling like, no, dude, don't do that.
Right.
I mean, you can do both, He
had the craziest form combos too.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Kim Do because he was amazing as a junior, had a amazing form that was different at the time. Him, and I think he doesn't get the credit for being one of the original ones like Carmichael does. Right. But when he came back as an adult and he did like the first flash kick ever, which wasn't even like what people do now. He actually grabbed his knees and kicked one leg out. He was like doing a tuck, but with a front kick, like an actual front kick.
Right.
And that was at Competes. I don't remember the year, which is weird. I don't remember the year, but I'll say 97. So,
he and David Doug were both West Coast demo team guys.
Right.
Look at that.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome.
Forms competitors ever were both from the same freaking school.
Yep. Pretty awesome, man. Pretty awesome. So, and a lot of great people that were underneath that as well. Like, so Jim Bahetian's school was underneath the West Coast, and that produced someone like Ramir Mosquito, but also Jimmy Pham. And Jimmy Pham was from Jim Bahetian's school, and that was underneath an Ernie Reyes school. They were around the area and stuff. So Jimmy Pham, a lot of other great people that ended up doing, I think Rudy is under that lineage in some way as well, that lineage, but I'm not sure. So, and James Solis and those guys as well. But there's a lot of great talent in the Bay, man. So.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Hans was in from Jimmy's school as well,
Uh,
and
he's got a
uh,
German last name that's like this
yeah,
long.
Wickling or whatever. Yeah, and then
Yeah, Krista.
Ramir and Chris Devera, Jericho Couture is from Buhiston School, so a lot of big time things, man. So
All the
pretty
Luke kick
cool.
crew.
Yep. Yeah, Luke kicks are all from that area as well. So
Yep.
pretty sweet, man. Pretty sweet.
Well, hey, this has been another great episode. This has been a great time. This has been the Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex.
I'm Jeff, and y'all have an awesome night, man.